Good evening. My name is Judy Witrago, and I will be presenting the case 9.3 Protecting the Unborn at Work. Now, when I first read this title, I assumed it was limiting the capacity of women who limiting their ability to have children or minimizing pregnant women in a workplace. Now, this is very similar to what the entire case is about. Um, Here in case 9.3, the company, the Johnson Controls Inc., which manufactures automobile led batteries for companies such as Goodyear and Sears and companies of that nature, organizations of that nature, um, completely excluded women from the workplace because, again, they were producing lead battery lead batteries for cars, and lead is known to cause harm to fetuses. So, in their eyes, to prevent any type of lawsuits or, any type of harm to these unborn children, they completely discriminated against women in the workplace. Mind you, they had 14 plants throughout the country, and none of them supported women. So, in terms of the facts of the case, here are the facts, and this is presented by doctors, by the CDC, by OSHA. The levels of lead and lead oxide fill the air inside the plant. That's a given. Again, they produce lead batteries for cars. Numerous scientific studies have shown that lead can damage the brain and central nervous system of a fetus when exposed to that environment, meaning the mother, um, the woman who is pregnant, when she is exposed to lead, um, that lead can harm her fetus. Uh, the main source fact here is they excluded women of all 14 of its factories from jobs that entail high exposure to lead. Um, to yes, again to lead. This includes women who are on birth control and women who are celibate, meaning these could be women who choose not to have children or just are completely celibate. According to the company, the issue is protecting the health of the unborn child. As far as ethical issues involved, what are the ethical issues that need to be addressed? Well, here they are. As far as an individual level, I'll go ahead and be using an example of a woman who probably decided not to have kids. And here is a company making a choice for her, saying, "Oh, we're just protecting your child." And this woman could be like, "Hey, but I'm choosing not to have kids, so why am I gonna take into consideration something I don't even know I want, or I know I don't want, versus a career I do want in your company?" That's the individual level that I would see it from as a woman's perspective and a woman myself. As far as an organizational level, the organization is excluding a sex entirely due to chemicals that can be minimized and controlled in the workplace. They can control how much lead is exposed to individuals. If lead is so harmful to fetuses and the women breathing it, what about males? They can be exposed and it can be very harmful to them as well. They are also required, many companies and organizations are also required to provide personal protective equipment to keep each and every individual safe, no matter male or female. As far as a society ethical level, the job is making a choice for women automatically by excluding them from a workplace due to a chemical that can harm unborn children. The chances of a woman actually becoming pregnant is 15 to 25%. 15 to 25% is very, very much higher, is very low as opposed to the quality of work that an individual meaning a woman, can actually produce. Um, from a woman's standpoint, and speaking as a mother, the choice to have kids is one's own choice. Now, the probability of you actually having kids, again, 15 to 25%. By the time you actually can have a child, you could have far advanced in your career. And this is just being realistic. Women today go through numerous channels to have children. And it is very a very personal and sad ordeal, and it's a very difficult journey, but a lot of these women are already established in their careers, and for someone to say, hey, no, you can't, we're protecting your child. Well, this is a child that doesn't even exist yet, and you're just going to exclude me? Okay, that's it's just not ethical at all. As far as the consequences of the behaviors in the scenarios, we have two women, actually both named Cheryl Shalafo. Shalafo, I'm gonna say her last name is Cheryl Shalafo and Cheryl Cook. They actually both had operations to become sterile after having children and after working in these lead exposed plants. Now, both of these women went on to work for after the Johnson uh, group dismissed their policy of not hiring women. Both of these women went on to work for the Johnson group after they had these alternating surgeries to no longer produce children, again, after they've had their families. Um, Both claim that this was a choice not for themselves and not for career advancement. But what if it was? What if it was for career advancement? What if these women made this type of agreement with the company and said, hey, we're gonna, we commit to not having kids if you hire us? That's completely unethical on so many levels. What if they go through with this and the company is like, they uphold their policy of not hiring women? Now these women completely diminish the future of potentially having more children for a company that wasn't even willing to take a chance on them. Isabel Katz Pisler, Director of Women's Rights at the American Civil Liberties Union, states, the attitude of Johnson Control is, we know better than you. We can't allow women to make this decision. We have to make it for them. What if Isabel Katz Pisler was a man who was the Director of Human Resources representing the Johnson Group? Of course, it's a man's world in that company. He's going to uphold these policies. As far as in this alternate case that we just completely fabricated, on the company level, both Cheryls made agreements with the company to alter their bodies for career advancement. Although contracts are very common in workplaces, this contract and agreement that was made between these two women is just completely unfeasible at all. This means that the company is entitled to their labor, meaning and it completely took over not only their professional life but their personal life as well. Society, as speaking from a society standpoint, in this alternate fabricated case that we just changed these roles on, this agreement between both women and the company is just completely illegal, as who would come for these women and this organization, it'd be women's rights groups and feminist groups instantly. They wouldn't necessarily come for the women, but they definitely come in defense of the women against the company, whether these women want this assistance or not. As far as why they repealed this this policy of not hiring women is because, again, in a federal lawsuit they lost, which led them to repeal this policy. And which is great because now there's women working for these groups, and these women have the choice of whether they want to have children or not, of whether they really want to expose their bodies to these harsh chemicals and plants. But ultimately, this policy was repealed.